find the isolation they need to haul out and breed here without molestation, providing a rare research opportunity. Day and night during the summer months, their primordial bellows echo off Medny's precipitous grassy slopes. The ruins of a former village here have been converted into a research station where our expedition had a chance to interview its chief resident.
In the 12 years we've been studying stellar sea lions here on the southeast rookery, we've gained a lot of pretty interesting material, which allows us to make some weighty and convincing conclusions about peculiarities of stellar sea lions which were, as of yet, unstudied on the Russian side of the species range. Thanks to our tagging effort, it's been possible to identify migration routes of stellar sea lion in the Russian Far East. For example, the migration pattern of stellar sea lion from Commanders to Kamchatka, Kamchatka to Commanders, and from the Aleutian Islands to Commanders. To mention some of the more significant data obtained regarding stellar sea lion biology, I can say that in recent years we are observing a slight decline in pup productivity at the southeast rookery. Up until 1990, we had seen the reproduction rate increasing slightly, but now we are seeing this decrease. In recent years, scientists, Russians as well as Americans and Canadians, have actively been studying the reasons for the decline in the stellar sea lion population. One of the reasons being considered, perhaps one of the main reasons, is overfishing in the Bering Sea and northern Pacific. This may be a factor contributing to the low recruitment of young pups and, of course, in the overall population decrease of this species. It seems to us that there will be a time when the population will stabilize. We do see that at particular sites, numbers have stabilized in the last decade, and at some they're even increasing a little. But people, of course, need to be more careful with the use of fisheries resources. It's important to ensure that some fish are left in the sea for these animals, not only because they are our neighbors on this planet, but because they have no way of defending themselves.
These rich, cold, well-oxygenated waters support extensive and very healthy kelp forests, which nourish their own ecosystems while providing crucial wintering habitat for migratory waterfowl, including harlequin ducks, eiders, and emperor geese. Tidal flushes bathe them twice daily with highly oxygenated water, creating one of the richest underwater ecosystems in the Bering Sea, home to more than 6,000 sea otters, representing the largest population in the region. In contrast to dwindling populations on the Alaskan side of the international dateline, sea otters in Russian waters, especially the Commanders, thrive in remarkable abundance, forming rafts of up to several dozen individuals. At low tide, beach drift kelp accumulates along the coast, providing sustenance for wildlife and research opportunities for scientists like Nina Pisareeva of the Pacific Institute of Geography, who participated in the second Commander Islands expedition. The Commander Islands support nesting populations of several limited-range, endemic Bering Sea birds, such as these red-legged kittiwakes. The local population is estimated at 16,200 pairs, one of only 4 populations in the world. 15% of the world's population of northern fur seals breed on the Commander Islands, which is the world's second largest population outside of Alaska's Pribilof Islands. The northern fur seal's overall population has rebounded since the overexploitation of the sealing era of the late 19th century and early 20th centuries. In the United States, though, the northern fur seal is considered as depleted, according to the Marine Mammal Protection Act. In the Pribilof Islands, they have declined by 5% per year since 1998, and World Wildlife Fund is concerned about the conservation status of this species throughout its entire range, in Russia and Alaska, in its wintering and its summering areas. Interestingly, this fur seal rookery at Southeast Point, Medny Island, by virtue of its very isolation, is one of only a few such breeding grounds in all the world to have been spared negative impacts by humans for more than a century. Of course, with so many seals around, sometimes an individual has to run the gauntlet in order to reach the ocean. This scene demonstrates the graphic difference in size between the bull Steller sea lion on the left and his northern fur seal counterpart. There is little interspecific rivalry, but inadvertently, some pups get in the way. Offshore, the graceful porpoising of fur seals provides telling evidence of the health of the reserve's open waters, and the coastline literally boils with life as young bulls spar and play noisily in the surf. Another remarkable animal encountered during these expeditions, found only on the Commander Islands, is the Medny Island Arctic fox, considered to be one of the most endangered mammals in Asia. At low tide, these opportunists take advantage of the intertidal bounty. The animal is one of two endemic Commander Island subspecies of perennially brown-pelaged Arctic foxes. Before the introduction of red vole, Norway rat, American mink, and reindeer on Bering Island, the Arctic fox, now numbering nearly 1,000 animals on that island, was the only land mammal. Medny has so far been spared these potentially important introductions, though a mere 150 animals remain today. Yet from the 1930s to the 1950s, a system of fur breeding was established on the islands using this animal, though this practice no longer occurs. Over 480 species of vascular plants inhabit the Commander Islands. This colorful dwarf rhododendron is one of two endemics. Many of these are primarily North American in their distribution, another sign of the Commander's role as a bridge between continents. Bird diversity on the Commanders is astounding, especially considering the island's high latitude and extreme climate. At least 203 species have been recorded here, including 58 nesting varieties. Some, like the flurries of black-legged kittiwakes that abound here, are widespread throughout the North Pacific, while others are endemic to the Commander Islands themselves. Still, another contingent, as shown in the following segments, migrates here on wings that carry them across the hemispheres. More than 30,000 pairs of black-legged kittiwakes nest on the Commander Islands each summer. By contrast, the endemic race of gray-crowned rosyfinch numbers just a few hundred and is only found here. The Commander Islands' immense nesting population of seabirds includes tufted puffins, which are adorned with flashy blonde tassels during the brief summer nesting season. Upwards of 45,000 nesting pairs of these affable seabirds have been recorded nesting on Toporkov Island alone, which is located adjacent to Nikolska Village on Bering Island. World Wildlife Fund is especially concerned about the potential effects of oil spills and drift nets on these and other seabirds in the Commander Islands. They are one of two puffin species inhabiting the Commander Islands, this being the second, the aptly named horn puffin, which exhibits horn-like caruncles above its eyes. While both puffin species are confined to the North Pacific, the Mongolian plover brings a splash of color to the Commander Islands from across the hemispheres. The Commanders may represent the easternmost tier of the species' breeding range. These small birds migrate here from wintering grounds as far away as Australia and Africa. When a predator approaches, this small bird puts on a dramatic distraction display to lure the foe away from its eggs and young. The endemic, red-backed Commander Islands race of rock sandpiper represents the other end of the spectrum. It is a Russian Red Book listed species that, unlike other races of its kind, resides on the Commanders year-round. They nest in the interior, but forage on the seashores amid piles of decaying kelp. Like all marine life here, clean, clear water is requisite, but the Commander Islands support a commodity that is comparatively rare on oceanic islands of their size: abundant freshwater marshes and wetlands. A possible explanation for the remarkable avian diversity found here. These wetlands support nesting species and are crucial to the migratory and wintering waterfowl like common eider and up to 15 additional waterfowl species. Gliding effortlessly over precipitous cliffs here is the northern fulmar, an ocean wanderer that winters as far south as Mexican waters, returning to nest on the Commander Islands each summer. The Commander Island population of this enigmatic tube-nosed seabird numbers some 200,000 pairs and is one of the largest in the North Pacific. Like these and other ocean wanderers observed during the two novel World Wildlife Fund Commander Islands expeditions of 2004, the Typhoon soon carried its international contingent of scientists, law enforcement officers, filmmakers, and other specialists back to Petropavlovsk. Upon their return, the expedition members would carry with them a sense of discovery, along with a new body of knowledge and insight, which they will put to good use for the future welfare of the Commander Islands Nature Reserve. As the expedition came to a close, a number of goals had been accomplished. The team had field-tested new software for a satellite-based, computerized ship monitoring system, completed 2 10-day pelagic seabird transects, encompassing over 200 kilometers of open Bering Sea habitat from Kamchatka to the Commander Islands, the first of such surveys ever to have been conducted in these waters, identified new opportunities for conservation, including the forging of international partnerships that will help strengthen collaborative knowledge of the Bering Sea and the important role the commanders play in protecting its biodiversity. They also gathered important footage for a documentary featuring the Commander Islands. Additionally, the team gained a better understanding of Nikolska's community concerns and their interests in the nature reserve, amid the improvements needed to help Russia's largest marine protective reserve become a strong and vibrant marine protected area, not just a paper park. What will the future hold for the Commander Islands, their indigenous and endemic Bering Sea wildlife, or for the community of Nikolska on Bering Island? World Wildlife Fund is tirelessly working to assure that it will be a bright one.